The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Friday, TGI. Yep, it's Friday.
Friday before the long weekend as well.
Friday before Columbus Day, and they're going to guard the Columbus statue in New York because they're afraid it's going to be vandalized. If the people are not happy with Columbus, I guess they're all fans of Eric the Viking or something.
Americo Vespucci.
America, yeah, they said the Vikings were here long before Columbus.
Yeah,
so,
they're right, actually.
And they were right. Yeah, they actually were. But
yep. And there's also a question of, if the Knights Templar were here also before Columbus. So
yeah, so
we'll have to see. Hey, moments ago, Lind Pereira, candidate for mayor, vice president of the city council, held a press conference. It was held at the corner of North High and Wiedemo Street, which looked like that's right about St. Joseph's Church on over there where the school is and whatnot.
North High and Wiedemo. I'm trying to think what's on that corner. I can't.
Yeah, no, it's the school that's on the corner. It used to be. Yeah. It used to be Seton Academy, and then before that was Seton Academy for girls and.
Well, whatever.
Whatever it was. But she held her press conference there talking about ShotSpotter, and she said how the mayor had said that it cost the city $90,000. And she says, don't you think $90,000 is worth a life? If it can get a police officer there 2 minutes earlier, isn't it worth it for a life? And, there she is right. But here's the big but. Here's what she brought out.
But
it didn't cost the city $90,000 according to what the mayor was saying. Cost the city $70,000, of which $50,000 was paid by the district attorney's office.
Maybe we found out how all the stipends came to be without the budget going up.
And my big problem with this is that he said the program wasn't worth $90,000. Then all of a sudden, because he was able to negotiate getting it for free, because for the first year it didn't work out so well because it wasn't calibrated properly, now it's worth it. And now it's a tool, which Linda has been saying all along, that this is a tool for law enforcement to use. And the mayor made the statement that it had never been used in a prosecution. If it had never been used in a prosecution, why would the district attorney pay for it? Not only in Fall River, why would the district attorney pay for it if it wasn't a good tool to use in prosecutions?
Well, who knows? Because, one thing Jazel is good at is flipping. He's got, it's always everybody else is lying, everybody else is doing this, everybody else is this. But he never lies because anything he says is always subject to revision. That's right. So you can't, it's not a lie.
Interpretation. And
That's
interpretation.
Right. Especially during an election season. It's like anything is fair game. And anything subject, as we said on a few other shows. Oh, you want the rail trail paved? You got it. Oh, wait a minute, you're against it? Okay, it's gone. Whatever you want, it's election time. After the election, we hold that in reserve, then we'll do whatever the hell we want. But now when I'm looking for votes, anything the people want, I got. You got it.
Just like the purple bags. All of a sudden now, he promised to take them out of this fiscal year budget. He didn't. But now everyone's upset about it, so now they're going to go out of the next fiscal year budget. By which time, if he's reelected, he'll be in. And guess what? They probably won't come out of the budget.
And we still haven't gotten a logical explanation
on where the money's going to come from.
On where the money's going to, that replaces that. Because if you take the money that you lost from purple bags and invest it to what that money from purple bags was paying for, whatever you were paying for with that money in that budget is now got a hole in it. So you have to find money. Which, by the way, in case you can't figure out why they always have to raise our taxes and fees, this is why. Because nothing disappears from a budget unless whatever it's paying for disappears. And nothing ever disappears from our budget in this city, especially political jobs.
Especially tax hikes.
And tax hikes, as you know, and as the propaganda they're trying to say, you should understand that it's your obligation to get a tax increase and fee increase every year. It doesn't matter when you never get a pay raise, and then we have the poorest city in the state. That's irrelevant. It's just like the federal government and the state. You know, we can get a pay raise. Screw you. You can't get a tax holiday. So, you know, they really care. And as they were saying now, I guess it's the new, let's drain the swamp.
Yep, let's drain the swamp.
Let's drain the swamp.
Yeah, well, you know, this swamp is going to take a lot of draining. Let me tell you, I don't think there's enough Drano to flush out those
and
pipes.
I think that the drain will get clogged a lot with some of the stuff that we're draining off.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you. Well, the Bureau of Labor Statistics came out with their report for last month.
Yes.
The unemployment rate declined 4.2% in September. Total non-farm payroll employment changed little, minus 33,000 employees. A sharp employment decline in food services and drinking places, and below-trend growth in some other industries likely reflected the impact of Hurricanes Irma and Harvey. I don't know how Irma and Harvey reflected food restaurants and food service workers in
all the areas that they got
Minnesota.
hit by people are not there anymore. They evacuated, and the bars got wrecked, and the restaurants got wrecked, so they're in the middle of renovations. That's probably why.
Well, yeah, but again, I don't see how that would affect Minnesota or Wyoming or Ohio. But,
because maybe they blamed Irma for something up there. Who
there
knows?
you go. That's right.
You know, we don't care in this country. That everything's like fake news.
If it gets me some FEMA money, I'll declare
That's
it.
right. FEMA. Oh,
Hey, our show didn't go out in Florida. I want some FEMA money. How's that sound?
that's right.
Well, the federal uncertainty is also helping you on your health insurance, people. It may mean health insurance rates increases of nearly 30% in Massachusetts. 30% in health insurance rate increase. Like it's not high enough already. Not they haven't taken drugs and jacked up the price on us.
We remember where Charlie Baker came from,
That's
the
right.
healthcare industry, and he's loving this. All his friends are going to make a lot of money. You know, this is like gas. You know, you have any kind of little issue anywhere. In Texas, the Texas oil, in the Middle East, somebody burps. We got to increase the price of gas. Why? I don't know. We got millions of gallons stored in surplus. As a matter of fact, the last time they jacked up the price, they admitted that it wasn't going to be a long-term delay in getting more oil, and they had plenty of surplus oil, so we didn't need an increase. But guess what? When big money makes more money, that's okay in this country. That's what it's all about. And as far as the health insurance is concerned, look, the politicians on every level of government, state and federal, they're bought and paid for.
That's it.
This stuff is just, as a matter of fact, before the show, I was meeting with a person who had a question about their prescription drugs, because as we spoke about on the show earlier, the CVS Careless has found it necessary to increase the cost of generic drugs, which are the cheapest, and change their tiers and make them as expensive and even more expensive than brand name. Why? Because they sell a lot of them, and they'll make more profit. That's their reason. There's no medical reason for it, but they're going to make a higher profit, which now means that we're going to have to go to our state delegation. I'm writing a letter to have them try to close the loopholes in the law that they're using to manipulate it. But they manipulate costs, they manipulate everything. And the reality is this nation will never address it. Do we remember the big hearings on the EpiPen when the daughter of a senator was taken to task and everybody was pointing fingers and showing how much they were concerned about the healthcare crisis?
I don't think that's the finger they were pointing.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's not the finger we got. It may have been the finger they were pointing on camera, but it's not the finger that the general public got. I can guarantee that. But I'll tell you, what's happened? Nothing.
Well, this week the Attorney General did announce that Mayan, the maker of that EpiPen, got cited and had to pay the state back because they were not paying their fair amount of cost sharing.
Well, you know the ironic part about it is I just looked at the EpiPen cost this morning. It's not available anymore because it's so expensive. The brand name is not available anymore. They're selling the generic at a higher price than you can get the name brand any other place in the world. And I was looking at that this morning. Isn't that ironic that we talk about it? The EpiPen that you buy, you can go across the border and buy it in Canada. It's the same one, still in a package from an American pharmaceutical company. Don't even open a package. They ship it to Canada, which costs money. And then the Canadians have it, and they'll ship it back to you, or you'll get it. 69.1% more. Less, actually. So that means we'll round it out. Let's round it up to 70 math. Okay, it's 69. That means that for every dollar you spend on that EpiPen in the United States, it's 30 cents in Canada. So that's how much it costs. 30 cents on our dollar that you pay. And that is an absolute disgrace, and it is an indictment of our federal government and the people in our federal government, because they're allowing this to take place because, frankly, really simply, they're being paid off.
Yeah.
They're going to get a job when they retire from Congress and get their fat retirement. They're going to get a job with a pharmaceutical company as a consultant for $1 million a year because, you know, all they do up there is talk. That's why we have to drain the swamp starting from the top. We have to drain the swamp in Washington, drain the swamp in Boston, and drain the swamp in Fall River, because this is what happens. Nobody cares. These people do not care. They do not have our health care. They do not pay what we pay for pharmaceuticals. They do not live in the same world we do. And it's an absolute disgrace that this occurs. And when they come down looking for your vote the next time, telling you how much they've done, remember what they've really done to you. Nothing. Remember that hearing, and I watched those hearings, and a lot of finger pointing and a lot of condemnation about the pharmaceutical companies and the fact that she got, I think, a $6 million pay raise.
Yes.
After she jacked up the EpiPen.
Yep.
Not the first person there. The other guy who was killing cancer patients and didn't care, and said it in front of the federal committee. He basically didn't care. It's his job to make a profit, and tough people die. That's the way it goes. But guess what? All that talk, now we're going back a year or two to the cancer drug, maybe over 2 years. Time flies when you're having fun. Nothing's changed. Matter of fact, it's getting worse. And here we are again, getting worse. Insurance rates, drug rates, everything is raised. And again, the United States in their relentless pursuit of money, big money, they refuse to look at the reality. All the nations with the best quality health care that pay far less than we do have socialized medicine. But that's like a giant expletive in the United States. We can't do that. We have to let people make billions of dollars. We have to let people make $32 million as a salary for like CVS Caremark, 32.8 to be exact for the head of CVS Caremark. But why? Health care, and I don't care if you say, oh, socialism, that's a bad word. That means we're communists. No, it doesn't. It means that we have certain things in the world that everybody should benefit and have, and one of them is health care. Health care should not be a for-profit business. You remember a document that said, you know, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare for ourselves and our posterity? Well, you're not promoting the general welfare for ourselves and our posterity by allowing people to die so people can make a profit.
Always money. It's always money. It's always money. But yeah, so the state's insurers are already telling the state we're going to have to raise our insurance premiums. So
Yep.
expect more. And I'm sure that you being on the IAC, you're also going to be seeing the same thing coming down from the city.
Yeah, well, we've already seen generic drugs. We're going to have to go to the state and try to close loopholes in the law. Like I said, it's a relentless pursuit for profit.
And you
All
know what
they
the worst
do.
part about it is in Massachusetts? It is mandated by law that the generic be dispensed.
And that's why they're doing it.
Of
They're
course.
actually using that. They're using a law that was created to try to save money for the people, and now they figure a way around everything. So.
Of course. So you might as well gouge them right to the end. Hey, do you remember the Abbey Grill getting tax money?
Yep.
They got CPA money. Remember that?
Yeah.
They still haven't fixed that steeple.
That's right.
And they entered into an agreement with the city to fix the shroud. Not fix the steeple, to fix the shroud.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Why don't you spend the money on fixing the steeple? Because you're inconveniencing the people of Fall
Why don't
River.
you spend the money on an investigation as to what would happen to the money they gave them to fix the steeple?
Right.
Why don't we have an investigation? Because that CPA is nothing but a trough that all the connected people get. They get loans, they don't even do the work that was scheduled to be done. And that is, typical. Why don't we find out before we give them more money? Like, what did they try to, the Armory? They tried to get more money for the Armory that they got money for to fix, and they didn't fix. So that's the thing. Oh, don't worry, the idiots that are paying all this for this, the taxpayer, they'll forget that they already got some of their tax money to fix it, and we didn't fix it. So, every so many years, we'll just ask for money, and nobody will ever pay attention. Well, we're paying attention.
It's ridiculous. But, so Joe Bizco ordered the streets around it again closed to inconvenience the people of Fall River because Mr. Lombardi doesn't want to fix the tower. Is Rapunzel up there or something?
Yeah. No, the money that he got to fix it's up there.
Yeah.
It's being
It's
being held in escrow
Yeah.
in the tower.
Lombardi, that the steeple is structurally sound and the repair work entails the materials on the facade of the structure. He said the repairs to the shroud will cost approximately $1,000. You mean to tell me you couldn't maintain the shroud for $1,000? Really?
Yeah.
Are you that strapped for cash, Mr. Lombardi? He intends to begin work this fall on the steeple that will entail repointing the brick and replacing the mortar. We'll be working from the bottom up, Lombardi said, doing repairs as the weather allows and taking the work back up in the spring. Lombardi estimated that restoring the exterior of the steeple will cost approximately $100,000. Don't come to the CPA for that money. Don't come to us for that money. And I'll guarantee you he does. It's ridiculous.
It is.
It's ridiculous. Now for a totally different story.
Yeah.
This was a statement issued by the mayor on Wednesday at 11:58 in the morning, and I'm going to pick this statement apart.
Is this actually what he said, or
This is his statement.
This is verbatim.
This is his published statement. I copied this statement from his website. This is his statement.
Okay.
He published it, and that's why it says yesterday at 11:58. That was Wednesday at 11:58 in the morning. He published this. I continue to be consistent in what I said I would do as mayor. The people of our city instilled their confidence in this administration, and we delivered. Where?
Okay.
We delivered on net school spending by shifting the money.
Well, see, that's the key. The key is this guy is the master. It's flip-flopping back and forth. It's a half-truth. He did deliver. They are spending more, but they're not really spending more because all it was a shift of, it's like saying, well, I got 2 jobs, and I used to pay my electric bill from my first job, but now I'm going to pay my electric bill from my second job.
Right.
Well, the reality is it doesn't change anything in your budget. Doesn't do it. They shifted the cost of the police officers to the budget. They shifted the cost of health care to the school department budget, and then now they've delivered more net school spending. But what have they done that actually affects the educational environment that the students of Fall River have? Did they hire back paralegals or any paraprofessionals rather to help with classrooms? Because now when it's no, they didn't do anything like that. All this is a monetary, and I challenge him. If we're wrong, please, Mr. Mayor, Please.
Send it to us.
Show us where this investment was outside of stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with improving the educational system in the city of Fall River. Please do so.
Then he says, we delivered on increasing the manpower in both police and fire departments and upgrading equipment. The equipment upgrade started before he was in office.
And it's federal funds.
And it's federal money.
Not your money.
Right.
You didn't do anything. What you did is send a paper begging to the feds for money. That's what they've been doing forever. We've been funding this stuff with, you know, God, when I first got on a fire department, we were getting money from HUD. We're still getting money from HUD. You know, that's the way they buy equipment. And we've been saying, when are we going to use city money to actually replace this thing, you know, so we don't have to get an entire fleet. But they like it that way because now they can get a big thing. So that's a crap. And as far as increasing manpower, in a 2015 budget, then City Councilor Lind Pereira voted for a budget that reduced the firefighting complement by 11 people, city-funded people, not SAFER grant people. So he took away salaries that were already earmarked from the taxpayers' money to keep that manpower level up. It wasn't dependent on a federal grant. He reduced that manpower while they made 2 lieutenants and a captain's positions. Actually, 14 positions supposedly were reduced, but in fact, they lost money because 3 of those positions were now elevated to officer rank, even though we had less men, which doesn't make much sense. But now he's put back 7 people, or something like that, whatever number. Well, I hate to tell you this, there's another half-truth, because guess what? The people you put on still does not come back to replacing the complement that you voted to reduce.
But let's not forget.
In 2015. So the bottom line is, if you got rid of 11 people and 11 salaries that the city was paying, and now you put back 7, last time I checked, we're still short, because 7's less than 11. Unless you're on a crap table, you get paid both. So 7 and 11.
But let's not forget that this reduction in manpower was with the consent of the union.
Yeah,
the union president, Jason Burns, who's also an appointee of the mayor now to another board, okay? Maybe that was his payback for selling out the brotherhood.
But I mean, you know, don't say you got a great commitment to when you haven't even brought it back up to the level that you reduced it in 2015, the 2015 budget. So, you know, I remember that very clearly because I still have the paperwork. And it's broken down by the job because I made a presentation before the council opposing the reduction of firefighters that were funded by our money.
Yeah,
so.
you were doing the union's job, and you weren't even a member of the union anymore. So, I mean, that doesn't speak too highly for the union leadership at this point. We delivered on eliminating the $120 trash fee and privatizing trash collection. But you raised my water bill and my property taxes so high to offset that reduction.
Hey, I'll take that deal every day. I'll tell you what. I'll give you $120. You give me $400.
Yeah.
Or $500 or $600 or whatever. Take the total number of increases we had throughout that. You know, like we said, you know, this is another half-truth. Yeah, you did. You know, everything he said here is a semi-fact. Yeah, he did. He did get rid of the $120 fee. But he didn't get rid of where did he get the money to replace what that $120 fee was funding? It came from another part of the budget. So in order to generate the revenue to plug that hole, he had to raise our taxes, the full 2.5. Maybe if he hadn't done that, we would have got a tax break. But that's not the way they frame it. But that's politics. I understand that. That's the way it is.
Yeah. And again, it's just, you know, we delivered on infrastructure with streetscapes, road, and sidewalk repairs.
Yep.
Streetscapes only benefits what? His friends.
Yeah. Well, that's
the building he lives in.
And I haven't seen a lot of road and sidewalk, although now, just before there's trucks all over the place. I saw like 3 different trucks on, and I got to see if they donate to the mayor. I have trucks all over Eastern Avenue now putting stuff, and it's like, okay, but the fact is, you chose to spend $10 million on a street that doesn't need fixing, that you happen to live on, while we let streets all over the city remain in disrepair. So, you know, you're right. You did deliver streetscapes, but I don't think most of the people in Fall River really want streetscapes. So I don't know how much I would crow about that cool, but it's true. We did make streetscapes, and there have been some sidewalk repairs. Road repairs, I would have liked to see that $10 million make every single residential street in this city whole again, because, you know, we're the people who pay the taxes. We're the people who fund it.
The thing is that Liberty Utilities right now is doing a lot of street repairs. So that's not the mayor.
Yep.
That's the gas company. And they have to do them because they're tearing up the streets to put in new pipes. I mean, I'm seeing this in my own neighborhood. They tore up the streets and made it look worse than Fallujah because it was bad already. And now we've got a brand new street on Buffington Street. We've got a brand new street on Snell Street. They're going to have a brand new street on Tecumseh Street. They're paving over the streets. They're putting in total new streets, which is nice to see. Now, this one I love. We delivered on fiscal stability, adding millions to the stabilization fund. This is what you call the ultimate in bull. Because the money that was added to the stabilization fund, which was called free cash, $5.5 million, was not added because of the Jazel Correa budget. It was added because of the C. Samuel Sutter budget.
Yeah,
that's where that fiscal stability
and even
came from.
That's all smoke and mirrors anyway.
Exactly.
What's free cash?
Overtaxation.
Yeah, overtaxation and not filling positions for extended periods of time and saving that money, then turn it into free cash rather than reinvested it into the department that it came from. You know, it's all, look, again, it's spinology, you know, campaign time spinology.
The work is not done, and we must continue to turn around our city. Many political has-beens and wannabes continue to distract and throw stones, yet they have been part of the problem for decades. I know he's not addressing that to me because guess what? I haven't been part of the problem. I've been trying to be part of the solution. When you stop,
we know who the has-beens and wannabes are. So the has-beens are the people.
They're all people in his administration.
Yeah, well, no, they're the never-wases. No, he doesn't have that category in here. These guys are the never-wases. You know, like his grant writer.
Yeah.
Mr. Ritz Carlton. You know, so yeah, we know who the has-been is. I mean, it's a pretty. I mean, you don't need to be a political, you know, a political genius to figure out who, because he's running against the fact that his opponent has been around for a lot of years. Of course, he's not saying that she wasn't in a position to dictate what the city did. She could only vote whatever position she wanted.
One vote out of 9.
Not that you can agree, not that I agree with every position she ever took, because, you know, we've taken her to task on this show numerous times. So, but the fact is, she wasn't in position to turn the city around. She was only in position to cast one vote of 9. That's all she was in position. So that's a crock. But I like it. Remember this when we get down another paragraph or so, because he talks about name calling and stuff, but he calls people has-beens and wannabes. So remember that. But it's okay for him, because tomorrow he'll retract that. He'll say, well, I didn't really mean that. You know, this is what I meant. By the way, I don't want that tape played either. I said I wanted it, but I don't want it. So this is what we do. So stop time. So I'll read the next one. When you stop to assess the people who attack the many hardworking people of my administration and myself, should be actually me, myself, and I with your ego, but that's okay. You realize that they are simply upset because they couldn't get the job done. Well, I don't think anybody that you're referring to was a mayor. Okay? Our city will not be held hostage by the likes of people who talk the talk but can't walk the walk. We deserve to continue this progress. We'll finish the rest on Monday, but this is the biggest
No show on Monday. It'll be Wednesday.
Wednesday, I'm sorry. But remember, they all had their shot. No, they haven't. None of the people you're talking about has ever been the mayor. BS. CJ, you've disappeared from the screen. Have a good weekend.
I'm having a small problem
Enjoy Columbus Day. Discover America.
Have a great weekend.